Hello, hello, hello. Today we have a really, really, really great show for you today. We have the author of Big Gorgeous Goals, How Bold Women Achieve Great Things, Miss Julie Ellis, and she is actually one of my mentors. So we're going to deep dive into her book, which, you know what? It's not just blessings, Rayon Williams, blessings. Even though she definitely because of a lot of the roadblocks that we have as women entrepreneurs, she definitely curated this for us, but it's for anybody on the success trail. Rayon Williams, I'm so glad to see you today. It's going to be a really great interview. We're going to have a really great time. And I'm just waiting for her to come on up. Let me put the call-in link here for her to come in. But I had to share her with you. Blessings, Rayan. I had to share her with you guys because she is one of my mentors. And she's the real deal. Like, she actually does help, right? To get to and she just meets you at whatever level you're at, and helps you to improve from there. So we're gonna have her soon. Let me make sure that everything is okay. Because Julie is always on time. So more than likely she's just trying to figure out how to do it, how to come on. But yeah, we have a really, really great show today. I actually read the book again just for this interview. So I read it before twice, and I did it again. And believe me, the questions that I had before, I had to just do away with them. Call it obsolete information, obsolete data. Let's call it that, right? I had to actually do the questions over because when I read it was probably, I think it was 2 years ago when it just came out, or 3 years ago, right? So I read it twice then. And then this time I read it again. And when I read it again, the new consciousness that I picked up different things than 3 years ago. That's why I tell you guys, like, get the books and don't be afraid to reread your books, right? Don't just think that, okay, I read that book before and that's it. Because a lot of times when you improve or when your consciousness changes, you pick up different things in the book or in whatever book that you read before. Okay, so let me see if I can get her. Let me see if she was trying to get me. Hold on a second. 1 second. She's not answering. Let me text her. Yeah, something must have happened because Julie is always on time, actually. So let's just give her some grace and some time. So yeah, so I hope everything is going well for everybody. I know we're dealing with a lot in Jamaica right now. You know, the dust is clearing. Rayon, how are your people? How is everybody in Jamaica doing for you? How is everybody? Do you find everybody or everybody's okay? They're coping. Yeah, I understand that. Everybody coping right now, to be honest. I've burnt savannas. Yeah, yeah. I mean, my friend who we couldn't find finally, and I knew it. I said to myself, Ryan, I said to myself, Julia, don't panic. Um, More than likely, she went to her grandmother in St. Mary, right? So I said to myself, and I didn't feel that feeling inside of my chest where I feel doom when I thought about her. That usually is a sign for me, right? So like usually I would feel something, but I felt peace, like she was okay, even though we didn't hear from her, right? And come to find out, I was right. She went by her grandmother, so she and the baby they're safe. Roof went, but getting it back together, I understand that. I have a friend who has no roof, and she's in Sav. I mean, Rayon, the entire roof. It's not pieces of the roof. The entire roof is gone. Entire roof gone. Right? Her mother's house, um, parts of the roof gone. And then I have another friend who that same one, you see the same one I was telling you about who we didn't know where she was, right? That one, her house is gone. I mean, totally gone. It was a concrete house. It was a concrete house. It's like the whole land that the house is on, wash away, gone. Right? So yeah, we definitely have a lot of rebuilding to do, but you know what, Ryan, we're Jamaican people. Jamaican people, as you know, we're very, very, very resilient. You know, very resilient. But yeah, your roof went, but getting it back together, yeah. So I mean, a lot of people, you know, won't have Christmas as they had it before. You know, won't be as festive as had before. But guess what? We have life. So once we have life, we're okay. So I understand how last occurs the same night. Oh wow, by Black River Hospital. Oh my goodness. To find out the cause and because it's like she got swollen and I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay, Julie just texted me. She says she's on her way. Waiting for you. Yeah, she's awesome. She's one of my trusted mentors. Like I know I don't have many mentors, but the ones that I do have, I know they're gonna give it to me straight. That's what I want. I don't want yes men around me. Who have use for yes men? They'll watch you drive go right over a cliff, right? And Julie has the expertise, and Julie has the knowledge, and Julie has been through the storms. She has been through the fires, and she has survived and thrived. So those are the type of women that I look to and I say, okay, because we are gonna get some fires. And it's not just women, right? I am here. Hi, Julie. Okay, Julie. So this is the link. The link here. Just click the link, and I'll add you to the stage and give permission to your mic. I see you. So everybody, this is her book, Big Gorgeous Goals: How Bold Women Achieve Great Things. But again, it's not just for women because the ideas and this is a human book. So it's not. So I don't want you guys to think that it's just for women. No, it's geared towards women because she's a woman, and because yes, we do have different boundaries on our journey, but anybody can get this book. Hi, Julie. So this is the link here, Julie. So click this link, and then when you come on, here's the link again. I pinned it to the top, but that's okay. Thank you, Raya. No worries. Be here, listen. That's fine. I know most of our people come on the playback. That's where we get most views on the playback, not in the live, but that's okay. No problem, Rayon. And I'm sure you'll find what she has to say very interesting and very useful. I hope she's having. So yeah, so Julie, when you click the link and you give permission to your mic and your video, I will see you on the stage, and then I can add you to the stage. Let me make sure that she's not having any problems. People on the playback, I apologize, but this is just the way things happen sometimes. Very honored to have Julie as our guest, and so we can give her some grace as she works out coming on the live. Hi, Gary. Good afternoon, my dear. Good afternoon, and thanks for passing by. Today we have Miss Julie Ellis, the author of Big Gorgeous Goals, How Bold Women Achieve Great Things. And she's actually one of my mentors, my trusted mentors. We don't talk often, but whenever we do talk, I know her answers are going to come from a place of truth and a place of authenticity. Add to stage. Here she is. Hello, Julie. Hi, Julie.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
No
It would
worries.
not, I couldn't join on my phone.
No worries, Julie. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for even spending the time, giving our time and stuff with us. So I appreciate you. I appreciate that. So we're gonna start, and I wrote a little intro for you, so I'm gonna start there. Fire Nation, welcome. Tonight, or today, sorry, we are stepping into a conversation that is bigger than strategy, bigger than business, and bigger than the goals we write on sticky notes. We are stepping into a conversation about possibility, about what happens when a woman or a man decides to dream without apology, without shrinking, and without waiting for someone to hand you permission. And that is why I'm so excited and honored for the author joining us today, Miss Julie Ellis, co-founder, leader, strategist, and visionary. She wrote The Big Gorgeous Goals. That is not just a book about setting goals, it's about setting big, gorgeous goals. It's about stretching into the version of yourself that is already waiting, already capable, and already powerful. This book, Big Gorgeous Goal, is a love letter to ambition, a roadmap for courage, and a reminder that the woman or the man you must become to achieve your dreams is just as important as the dream itself. So, today we're going to explore chapters that challenge you to stop thinking small, chapters that remind you that leadership is learnable, and chapters that invites you to say a bigger yes to a bigger life. And
Yeah.
today, in honesty, in warmth, and in community, I encourage you to listen not only with your mind, but with your spirit. Because somewhere in this conversation, there's going to be a line, and there's going to be a phrase, and there's going to be a moment that feels like it was written for you, just like I had when I read this book all three times. So get comfortable, Fire Nation. Take a deep breath and open your mind to what's possible. Julie Ellis, welcome to the show.
Thank
And
you. I'm
welcome.
so sorry about my technical problems.
That's okay. That's okay, Julie. I'm so just thrilled to have you.
I'm
So
so
we're
glad to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'm going to dive right in because I had to read it again.
Yeah.
I read it twice before, and
Okay.
and then I read it again. And
Mhm.
Julie, that's why I was telling our audience before that when you love a book, keep it. And when you have found that your life path has changed, read it again. Because
Yeah.
your consciousness changes to pick up different things.
It's definitely the kind of thing that's like a practice, not a destination, too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So let's get into chapter 1, and we're going to get into the outward and upward, right?
Awesome.
It's the
Yeah.
section Women Who Set Big, Gorgeous Goals and Achieve Them find systems to reach their dreams.
Yep.
So this question is systems versus willpower. So what moment in your journey made you realize that systems, not just ambition, are actually what move the big, gorgeous goals forward?
I think I'm the kind of person who likes to experiment after I build myself a bit of a solid base to experiment from. And so to me, in my mind, the systems and the processes build that base. And that gives you the freedom then to go and dream big, explore, and do all kinds of things.
Understood. Understood.
Yeah.
Um, okay. Can you share a practical example of a system that you built, maybe in your business or personal life? Because I realize women, we live off of systems, right?
Mhm.
That completely changed what was possible for you.
Well, even like having help, for example, like a virtual assistant or some kind of person who can help and support. There's a book that I really like that was written by Dan Martell called Time Buy Back Your Time. And it's like about this, as you make a little bit more money, you carve off the job that, if you should be paid $100 an hour for your time, you carve off the $20 an hour job and hire it out. And it's like those kinds of little steps that you build then, and you start shedding the work. So like one system is really just learning how to do good delegation and
Mm,
figuring out what are the things that can only be done by you, what things can be done by other people, and then as you have the money, farming out things that can be done by anybody to anybody, you know?
mm, yeah, yeah, understood. So
Yeah.
buying back your time. I like that. I'm gonna look that up.
Mhm. It's a good book.
Buy
It's
back
a
your
really
time.
good book to think about. It's interesting too because, like, I interviewed somebody on my podcast, and she was a personal assistant for a rock star. And that is a human being. Really, really famous people are humans who have farmed out really almost every part of their life. They have people buying the gifts they give. They have people booking everything for them, all their travel, all their meals, all their like everything that they shop online for them. And that level of delegation is something in our normal everyday lives that you and I probably never think about.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a fascinating example of what are the things that I do that only I can do? Right. And
Mm,
that person, as an artist, that rock star, they're the person who needs to spend their time writing the song, perfecting the song, recording the song, getting on stage, appearing places, and everything else has to, and then they want to spend time in their personal enjoyments and with family. And so everything else they have someone else doing. And I
mm,
think, we don't have those endless amounts of resources in our everyday
mhm,
lives, but it's a really interesting thing to think about because I
mhm.
think that we get into this thing of telling ourselves, well, no one can do it better than I can.
Right.
And often that's really not true.
Right. Right. Knowing basically what to let go of to free
Mhm.
up the reins so that you can
Mhm.
be open to doing other things that would be move the needle
Exactly.
more.
Exactly.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting. And you know what? Like since I've started this channel in June, and just going through all of the books, we're finding a lot of those
Yeah.
current themes, right? And
Right?
Julie, it must be true, because these are different people from different walks of life, from different countries
Yeah.
that show you the things that made them successful, or the different mindset changes, and it's a common theme when it comes down to delegation and freeing your hands of the less
Right.
important, right?
Yeah.
To grasp, to create, right.
Yeah.
So that's very interesting. I want to say big up to Miss T, Perfectly Imperfect. She's
Ah,
another woman on the rise as well, and she's always here on
I
the
love it.
always here supporting me. She's an awesome person.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah. So here is something: internal ceiling versus the external limits. It
Mhm.
struck me, even like, just one of the themes in the book was what you overcome,
Yeah.
gratefully, is that many women blame circumstances, and of course we
Mhm.
could just say people, when in reality, the first ceiling is usually internal.
Mhm.
What are some of the most common small thinking patterns you see in ambitious women, even the very successful ones? Because
Mm.
you move in different circles. So,
I feel like it's like this piece about like we limit ourselves by our behaviors, by the ways that we procrastinate, right? Like, those things where you're like, it could really move the needle or really move you forward in the job you have, in your business, in whatever it is. And for some reason, you just can't bring yourself to do it. Like, you have those feelings where
yeah,
you're like, what you need to do, but you for some reason just can't bring yourself to do it. Those are those internal limitations that we create for ourselves. And
yeah,
everybody does it. It happens to us all, but it's like the deep dark secret that none of us want to talk about because
right.
it's self-limiting behavior. Like you're your own like you're just your own worst enemy in that case. And so I think that it's about figuring out how to bust through some of those things because we can get really stuck in them.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? And before this, we were talking about procrastination. I've been deep
Mhm.
diving into that to even
Yeah.
break my own mind from when this is what I tell people: no matter what stage you are, you're going to face that demon somehow. And
Mhm.
people, we always talk about, Julie, the fight or the flight stage, but
Yes.
nobody talks about the freeze stage,
Right.
right? And the freeze
Right?
stage is
That's procrastination
it's
to some degree,
procrastination,
right? It sure is.
right?
And I think procrastination is like a normal state. And sometimes it gives us the opportunity to reflect or to contemplate where we're going next. But it
Yeah.
can also be really, really detrimental because it is what happens when we're on the edge of that growth. We're in the zone of discomfort, right? Where we know we're about to grow or things are going to change.
Yes.
And it is one of those funny things how with the growth mindset or a learning mindset, you have to learn things and you're never always going to be successful at them the first time. I mean, that's the reality of learning new things. And yet we hold ourselves back from it,
Yeah. But
and
what
sometimes the outside world is like, God, I wish she would just do whatever that is.
yeah.
And, for some reason you have a big hesitation within yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I've been what I've been exploring too, because I just
Mhm.
get interested in some of these topics. Um
Yeah.
to make peace with that side of yourself, because that person
Mhm.
is trying to protect you
Of
in some
course.
way,
Of
right?
course. And it's almost like this like outdated person to like in your life. Like, it dates back to, like the caveman days when we all needed to be protected from things, right?
Yeah.
So there's like, and it is like that voice inside your head, right? That tells you you can't do things. I think there's a similarity piece to it. And that voice is meant to protect you, but ultimately will hold you back. And
Exactly.
that's kind of how I think about procrastination too, right? I think for
Yeah.
all of us, it's about, it's sort of protecting us, but it's also holding us back because we're procrastinating on the really important things
Mhm.
that will move us forward.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so how do you overcome that? I think, and what are the strategies for that is the really important piece.
Yeah. Yeah. Um and I may not be right, but I'll tell you, for me, whenever I feel that stuck state
Yeah.
coming, I have to tell myself that, okay, Julia, for where you were, that person was relevant, but for
Yeah.
where you're trying to be,
Yeah.
that identity will have to change, right? And
Mhm.
being willing to change that identity within yourself,
Yeah.
that's the key, I feel, right?
Yeah.
For progress. And it's like ongoing work. It's ongoing work.
Mhm.
So that's
Yeah.
why, perfectionism is not your friend. And that's why I
No.
find when you are so focused on your own development, you don't have time for a lot of the other noise, because
Mhm.
it's such a it just it so it saturates you, right?
Yes. Well, and the problem with perfectionism also is this, you're on this path of diminishing returns, right? Like
Mm.
getting something to 80 or even 90% of perfection is probably more than enough, because the last, 10% of perfection, the time, it's probably like 50, 75, 80% of your time. And so, like, you're into this zone where, does anybody actually realize what that difference is? And does it actually matter? And
Right.
you know what? There are life and death circumstances where safety or some other factor, it matters. Let's
It
not
matters.
question that. But
Yeah.
in most of the things we do in our life, it doesn't matter. And so, it's like when people have weddings and they're like, just go and enjoy the day, because if something goes wrong, the chances are only you're going to know.
Mm.
Right? Like, it's that
Yeah,
same
yeah,
kind of
yeah, yeah.
mentality of like, just go, and you have to sort of like let go of some of those perfectionist feelings in order to make progress.
Right. It's no facts. It's really facts. I know that I'm even um without saying too much, getting my way into more of the wedding community too. What I've found, and even from my experience of going to weddings, what do
Mm,
people remember? People remember the venue, people remember, the ambience, people remember the DJ, people remember
yes,
the music that they danced to. They don't remember if the takeaway was the perfect periwinkle blue,
exactly.
right? Right.
100%.
So,
Yeah.
right. So
Yeah.
that goes into what we were talking about some books ago, the Pareto principle, where
Mm,
20%, right, is in
it's
charge of the
totally
80%.
right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So a lot of women
Yeah.
fear that if we stop playing small, and this can go for men too. So just to answer
Mhm.
invest questions, greetings, is this life women centric? No, it's not. It's for everybody who is achieving a goal, but and it's valid across the board. Um,
Mhm.
However, a lot of women fear that if we stop playing small, women and men,
Yeah.
we'll lose those relationships, we'll lose
Mm.
approval, we'll lose stability. How
Mhm.
do you coach women through that fear?
I think it's about, it depends on the person. So there's some of that, but some of the things that you would work through would be, okay, what's the worst thing that can happen if it
Hmm,
doesn't go right?
hmm,
Let's talk about that. And it's like, oh, well, I might feel embarrassed, or it might be damaging to my business, or I might lose some money, or so, you've got to kind of work through the like, okay, let's go to the worst case scenario.
hmm,
And, what's the likelihood of the worst case scenario? So maybe it's like not a win, but it's not really a fail. Like, it's just kind of a nothing, right? And what's
hmm,
the cost of that? Is there a cost? Because if not, why not try?
hmm.
And then how could you mitigate the worst things happening? Right.
Right,
So, and how could you start to feel like you can take some risks and try things and learn from them and keep trying more things?
right, right. Like not putting the results, not tying the results to your identity, basically.
Yeah, and not
Right.
tying your results to the first time you try something necessarily, right? Because, like,
Right.
you didn't learn to ride a bicycle the first time you sat on one. You didn't learn to ice skate the first time you put on skates and stood on the ice.
Yeah.
And I think as children, we were very accepting of that. We
Yeah.
were very accepting that, you had to ride a bike 20 times before you actually got that little coast in and, felt the glow of that win.
Yeah.
But as
Yeah.
adults, we have this thing where it's one and done. Like, if we can't do it the first time, it's a failure.
Right.
And that's really the wrong way to look at things, but we all do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And two, before a couple weeks ago, we were talking about reframing failure.
Right.
And one of the books that I was reading, it was well, a lot of them. Basically, the theme was see failure as data,
Yes.
right? Not
Yes.
don't
What am I taking
personalize it
away here? What am I learning from it? And where can I go from there?
from there. Exactly right. Exactly
100%.
right. All right. So, Julie, afterwards, I'm going to ask you to drop your link, your podcast link in here, so that we could share
Or
you with everybody. But what would you say to the woman who hears your message and thinks, I feel selfish for wanting my big gorgeous goal, because that has come up many times in our podcast,
True.
Julie,
I
right?
think
Yeah.
so.
So
So speaking specifically to the women who might be listening, um, I don't know why we feel selfish, but we do.
right.
And I don't think men tend to as much feel that emotion. I do think it's more women who feel
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
And I don't know why we do.
Right.
I think we have to let go of like some of the things we care about, in that sense, like not in an integrity or a values kind of sense, but in a like, is anyone actually going to think that? And if a couple of people do, does that really matter? Are they really the people that
Right.
you want
Right.
to be in your sphere anyway?
Right. Right. Right.
Right?
My mantra to myself is always, listen, we're all gonna die anyway. And
Yes.
nobody's thinking about you or your failures as much as you are. You know what I mean? Like everybody's so wrapped up in their own world and their own sphere that the shame that you're feeling, you're actually making it more dramatic than it really is. But
Yes.
what I do like to give my audience, though, Julia, I like to give them practical steps of certain exercises that they can do, because my mantra to them is, we don't need more information, we need more integration with all the
Ah,
information that we have,
so true.
right?
We are inundated with information. Like it is kind of like the information superhighway is the fastest it's ever been in the
Yeah.
history of the earth. And we are trying to successfully navigate it, right? And
Right.
to keep our heads above water at all times.
Right.
It's a
Right.
lot.
It's a lot.
It
But that's why
sure
we have
is.
to be able to filter out
Yes.
what's useful, what's not useful, and then actually have the discipline to integrate some of the things that we have learned, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah. So let me ask you, what's one practical shift someone can make to begin strengthening their boldness muscle today? What do you think? Like any small little exercise that you think would be a good thing for someone who's just starting on the journey and dealing with this guilt, dealing with the boldness muscle?
Well, I feel like big, gorgeous goals are a bit like this. Like you set one, and then they kind of get bigger and bigger as you get more practice.
Hmm.
And I think always when you set a big, gorgeous goal, after you decide what that goal is, one of the first things you need to do is tell some people about it.
Hmm.
Because if your goals are on some secret menu in your head, your chances of actually achieving them are smaller than if you write them down, you tell someone or a few people, whether that's your coach, a
Hmm.
family member, somebody who's going to also set a big goal and you're going to hold each other accountable to working and progressing against them. All of those kinds of things. Like I really think that speaking it aloud to another human being is a really, really important part.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Do you think
Then
that
you
has
have someone who says, "Julia, how's that
Mhm.
going?"
That's right, the accountability partner type of thing.
Right? Yeah.
And then I think the trick with that is because you have linked whatever goal that you're making to
Yeah.
your identity and how the other person sees you. So
Yeah.
it's more of an accountability type of thing, right?
Right.
Blessings, Mega One Entertainment and Rick live stream. Blessings to all of you for coming in.
Yeah.
Um, the power of the strategic no. We're at section 2 right now. In chapter 2,
Yes.
under the subtle learn the strategic no, you write about this idea that to-do lists,
Yep.
goals, they feel easy and they feel safe. But
Yes.
big, gorgeous goals may feel terrifying.
Yes.
So that line I really loved and I still loved it. But can you talk about how saying no is actually a form of saying yes to something bolder, more aligned, a more
Mhm.
that version of yourself that you're working towards?
I always feel like the big yes that we're going to say to our biggest goals that we're probably the most afraid of, but that big yes is made up of a million no's. It's all the little things that you need to say no to in
Mhm.
order to like invest in yourself, invest in that goal that you want to chase. And when I say invest, it might be money, it might be time, it might be learning, it might be a combo of different things. But that's really where you need to say no. Like if all you do is, you know, those weeks when you finish the week and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I don't know what happened. My calendar was super full. Like my life, I don't know even know. It feels like a blur, right?"
Yeah.
If we live every single week like that, we are not going to work on our big gorgeous goals. We're just trying to keep our head above water for all the things that are on our plate. And so
Hmm.
we have to like clear up some of the things on our plate to make room for the big things we want to chase,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? And it's really easy to clean out your inbox, clean out a cupboard at home, drive your kids a million places instead of finding a carpool. Like it's really, really easy to do things that are distracting to creating time, you know, or even like, even I think of that like binge watching a show. We
Right.
all, you know, you sit down and you watch 5 episodes of something. Well, what if you watch two?
Yeah.
You know, like, but it is things like that where, you know, when you're at your busiest, you still have the leaking of time and things like that. And so it's
Right.
really starting to be intentional about pulling things back in a little bit so that you have that opportunity to invest in the big things. Because if the 2020s have told us anything, like we're almost 6 years into this decade. And I remember a year ago thinking, gosh, like this is the 5 year mark. And the last 5 years, the first 5 years of this decade felt like not a lot happened, not a lot moved forward, right? Like
Yeah.
there was a lot going on in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, do you want to sit at the eve of 2030 and feel like you lost a decade?
Jesus.
Because it'll happen, right? Like
Yeah.
that.
And that just reframed the decade for me. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. 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 You're
We
right.
need to be intentional.
Yeah.
And it be part of being intentional and working on our big gorgeous goals is saying no.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. What is one boundary you wish more women would set when pursuing big, gorgeous goals? One boundary.
I think it's the more of the like believing that you're worth it, believing that saying no to things in your life and creating time for you to work on something, believing that that's worth it, that you are worth that time and investment.
Exactly. Exactly. That's well, that's what I try to embody as well, because my life definitely improved and keeps improving
Yep.
the more I realize that I have gifts to give to the world, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And it's
I have gifts.
your destiny to go out there and give them to the world. And
Exactly.
unless we want to pursue that destiny, we will hold ourselves back from it because sometimes it feels scary and sometimes it feels like you're not really sure what you're supposed to be doing and
Mhm.
you don't know what the next step is or but if we leave them at the side and we don't give them that like attention and love and nurturing that they need, they're not going to grow and move forward and unfurl into the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
We are the catalyst.
Yeah.
Here's a quote that I really love. When it comes to leadership qualities, women appear to be stronger than men in most areas. So why
Mhm.
are we afraid to make bold choices and big goals?
Mhm.
Even if you don't reach it in the end, pursuing a big, gorgeous goal pushes you to new heights and
Mhm.
changes your life.
Yeah.
That I love that quote so much. From that quote, I want to ask you, what do you believe holds women back the most? Do you think it's self-doubt? Do you think it's social conditioning or something else entirely? What do you think?
Well, you know, somebody I know said something once and it really landed with me, right? So, it's that I think we're navigating in a world we didn't build. Like this world was built by men
Yeah.
and they built it how they wanted it. And I'm
Mhm.
paraphrasing somebody that I know who explained it in this way, and it landed with me a lot. So we think differently. Women are a little bit different, right? If we
Yeah.
had built this world, it would be tailored exactly to us.
Yeah.
And so but it isn't. So we're navigating in this world. And I think, you know, there's a lot of tension for all the hats that we wear. We're caregivers, we're mothers, we're CEOs, we're business people, we're like all, you know, we might be looking after our parents or our in-laws or other people, our neighbors. And so that caregiving role sometimes doesn't extend to ourselves.
Hmm. Yeah.
And I think that the ultimate act of self-care is chasing big things in your life that you really want.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't think we look at it that way.
I know. Yeah. Even talking to some of the women who I know who have
Yeah.
just great ideas. Yeah, a lot of the conditioning from patriarchy that has to be deconstructed in order
Yeah.
for us to take what comes out of us seriously. So I definitely understand that.
Right? Yeah.
Um, the last part of that quote you said, even if you don't reach it in the end,
Mhm.
pursuing a big, gorgeous goal pushes you to new heights and changes your life. Why do you think the journey itself of pursuing a massive goal is more transformative than actually achieving the goal itself?
I think it has to do with that, like pushing yourself outside of what is comfortable.
Yeah.
So if you set a goal that is like, I am a fan of to-do lists and SMART goals
I
as
am
as mechanisms
too. Yeah.
to get you to your big goal. But
Yeah.
if you only set goals that are accomplished by being smart, specific, measurable, achievable,
Achievable
relevant, and
and
time
time.
bound, that's
Yeah.
what SMART
That's
stands
what smart
for,
means. Yeah. Yeah.
right? And those goals are highly measurable.
Yeah.
But if you only chase goals like that, you're not really pushing on the edges of what's comfortable.
Right.
And so you can become sort of small in your thinking. And this is why I think it's worth pursuing big, gorgeous goals. Now, after you get the really, really big goal, you might have a smart goal that helps you move towards it. So I'm
Right.
not saying they're not useful in some way, but it's kind of like going a to-do list goal, a smart goal, a big, gorgeous goal. I suggest big, gorgeous goal, drive it down to
Drive it
how you
down.
could chunk it down to achieve it.
I agree with that.
Yeah, because I think if you don't get up to the highest level and think of the biggest thing you want, you're going to get stuck in this middle ground.
Right.
And it's why I think that's where the juiciness is. It's between these goals that you can ultimately do and these big gorgeous goals that feel super squishy, scary, all those things.
Yeah.
That zone there is where you grow and learn and become different.
Yeah.
And so it's that like reach for the stars but land on the moon. Huh. But
I love
if
that.
you had never decided to get to the moon, you would have maybe hit the clouds.
Yeah.
It's like that kind of an analogy to me is reach for the stars, land on the moon. But if you did just that smart goal, smart goal, smart goal, smart goal, you're still down here.
Yeah.
Right. And so you want to try and get into that zone where you see some growth. And
Right.
then you set a bigger goal for next time, or you learn something important about the path you thought you were going to go on and the path you actually should be on and where you want to be. Right.
I know. Yeah. I know about
Because I
that.
also think like there's 0 point in setting a huge life goal. I mean, you hear the stories of people who are like, I had this goal, I had it since I was 12 years old. And when I got there, I felt nothing.
Yeah. Felt
And
empty.
you have to have a system and a method to say, am I still on the right track? Is this still where I'm going? Have I really learned that I don't want to go there?
Right.
Because to me, there's no point in investing your best like energy, time, growth into something that you no longer want.
Right.
So there's a fine line because you can also say, well, I no longer want it. And secretly you're like, because I'm too scared to go get it. So there's a
Right.
fine line of calibration there. But I think it's really important to make sure that what you're driving after is what you really want.
Right. And you
Yeah.
know what, too, Julie? I love that you said that because throughout all the books and throughout just listening to people, one thing that we definitely have to have on this journey is
Mhm.
self honesty.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Self honesty. Like we have to be able to face ourselves, hold our feet to the fire, and hold our
You
feet to the
do.
fire of truth, too.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to end up in your 50s or in your 60s knowing that you spent 10 years striving for something that you didn't really want but everybody expected you to want or
Oh,
everybody
yeah.
expected you to continue, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So yeah. Yeah, so let me just say big up success over hype. She's another lady, Julie, that's on the rise too. Like we have,
Awesome.
yeah, we have a lot of women going into their own businesses, just opening their mind to
Yeah.
business in our community. So I really do appreciate them.
Oh, so good.
So, chapter 3. I love this quote so much. Oh my goodness. I try not to like dog your books and everything because I'm like, I still need to get the author's signature. But when you say, perhaps what luck really is taking hold of opportunity when it presents itself.
Yeah.
What you make of opportunity rests in your own hands. Now,
Mhm.
when you say that, what inspired you to redefine luck in that way?
I think, when we started Mabel's Labels,
Mhm.
and grew it, there was a lot of times we were like, well, that was really lucky. And then you started thinking, you're like, actually, it wasn't really that lucky. It was a lot of hard work, a lot of hard work, like grindingly hard. And so then you're like, huh. So, I think we had the luck of timing when we started that business.
Mm.
We chose to start it. We had the idea present itself. We chose to start it. We were the first to market in North America. We built a direct to consumer e-commerce business in 2003,
Mhm.
before Facebook, before Instagram. We went around and talked to moms on the soccer field, at the gymnastics club, at the school pickup, at the daycare. And
Mhm.
when Facebook came, we very quickly said, we're just going to keep talking to moms, except we're going to do it on Facebook. And
Mm.
so we then gained 100,000 followers incredibly quickly. We, like there was luck and fortune, good fortune for us in the timing that we started that business because a lot of lanes were really open. People who start an e-commerce business today, they have Shopify, they have
Yeah.
social media, they have things that were really hard for us. But
Yeah.
what we had that wasn't hard for us was building that following. Now
Mhm.
it's really hard to cut through the noise and you've got to be really technically strong as a direct to consumer e-commerce company.
Mhm.
We had room for mistakes and it wasn't as like for us. But it was still hard.
Yeah.
It was just hard in different ways.
Yeah. And I
So,
think that's one of the things that women we don't give ourselves enough credit for, which
yeah.
as we go on this journey, and I've realized it too. We are good at building community, like
Yes.
real
Oh, so
community.
good, aren't we?
Yeah, like
Mhm.
real community where, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we are really good at that. So, and we have
Yeah.
to be able to make our community like work
Yeah.
for us. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And we work for them too. So with
Yeah.
the servant leadership. So that's definitely true. No, I'm picking because I had so many questions, but I
Oh,
want to
yeah.
respect your time. So I'm picking
That's
through.
okay.
So chapter 3, bumps in the road. This was
Mm.
another. I love.
Well, it's always the thing, right? A
Yeah,
bumps in the road. I mean,
bumps in the road.
it's not that you have bumps in the road, it's what you make of them because we all have bumps in the road. No matter
That's
what
right.
we do, no matter what we want to do, there's always going to be bumps in the road. And you can be like, "Oh my god, there's bumps in the road," or you can be like, "Huh, there's a bump in the road.
Bumps in the
How
road.
am I going to get over it?" Right? Like
Exactly.
there is that mindset about like it can be really hard or you can be really like, "Okay, I knew the bumps were going to come. What is
Yes.
this like? How am I going to get through it? What help do I need?"
Yeah.
And, have a different attitude about it.
And that's with everything too. That's worthwhile
Sure.
too, Julie, because I was even just thinking about using that premise against even friendships.
Yeah.
I never enter a friendship thinking that it's gonna be smooth. I
Right.
always know that we're gonna have disagreements. We're probably gonna fall out, but how are we gonna deal with it? Because
Yeah.
I find that in all my friendships, we always have a little rift as we get stronger. But the
Mhm.
strength comes in the mending,
Yeah.
right? So, right, so that's the thing. But this quote here,
Yeah.
um the bumps in the road, these throw you off. Deviations from the plan are normal. Bumps are just more data points. They don't mean your work is bad or worthless, right?
Mhm.
That is such a compassionate
Mhm.
reminder for us.
Yeah.
But why do you think that we interpret setbacks so personally? And how can we begin to see the bumps as information rather than judgment? That was two part.
Yeah. Well,
Sorry.
I think we take them personally because we feel like I had a plan. and I was going towards it and now I'm off, the bump is here. I don't know how to get over it. Like, we're not see we don't have the whole picture. We can't see things, everything that's going to unfold. And so I think, when that bump in the road, it's easy to feel, and sometimes it feels very insurmountable and you can feel very defeated by it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, I think it's that thing of like, it's like, okay, oh, there's a bump in the road here. Like if you just sort of sat back and said, huh, maybe I need to talk this out with somebody. Maybe I need to look at my plan, look at the bump in the road. Like, depends on what the bump in the road is, right? Like, it could
Yeah.
be something where it's like, oh, well, that's going to delay me by a week. That's kind of a drag because I had a deadline, but what can I do to get a little closer, cut off a few days, whatever the case. There's the bumps in the road where you're like, wow, I might
Yes.
actually need to make a right-hand turn
Yeah.
and do something totally different. And then everything in between, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's really about like, if you have the really, really big bump in the road, like who are your smartest people you bring around you for advice?
Yeah.
How do you like actually take that step back? Because the other thing is the bump in the road is when you're often in the like, I'm going here, I'm going here, I'm going here. And then it's like, whoo, it comes and hits you right in the face, right?
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, that's a really big bump because you're right up against it.
Yeah.
So, how do you also sort of lift yourself back and out back to a more strategic position to have a real look at what that bump looks like and what it means? And how are you going to go around it? Are you going to go over it? Are you going to change course entirely because it's giving you information that's
Yes.
telling you that the plan you thought you had isn't going to work?
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes the bumps in the roads, there are lessons too.
Oh,
To let
sometimes
you
they're
know.
the biggest gift, right? You hit that bump in the road for something you really, really wanted, and it means the end of that dream, goal, whatever you want to call it. And a year later, you see something that plays out, and you're like, "Oh my goodness, I'm so glad I passed on that."
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah. No,
it happens more than you think,
more often
right?
than you think, right? And sometimes
The
too,
universe is coming to tell you something, and sometimes you do need to listen.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it makes you more, they say twice bitten, once bitten, twice shy. Sometimes it makes you sharper,
yeah,
right? Because one
absolutely.
bump that I had in the road, without, saying too much, on my journey, there was a brewery out in the north, and we were talking about the breathalyzers, and I said, you know what, since this any child,
Yeah.
every child came out, their logo is very similar to
Mm.
ours, and since you guys are in the north and that community is there, let me see if I can change the color to make it less seem like as if we're targeting
Mhm.
those people, because
Mhm.
there's a stigma that says that they drink a lot, right?
Yep.
So we did everything. We changed it to red, and it actually made the logo look completely different.
Mm.
And we did all of that, sent out samples, sent out more samples, then sent the shipment. And that part that fell through, the bad business on their end fell through. And then afterwards the whole management changed.
Right.
So and I knew better, but when you're so excited to do something, sometimes
Yeah.
you say okay, and you meet with these people, you talk to these people, you don't get things written yet. But even
Yeah.
if I did get the things written,
Yeah.
they went under. So you're
Yeah.
right. So it was just a loss at the time. So
Yeah.
that stung a lot, especially when you have limited resources, even in time and in
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
But it's still a lesson learned, and it's
Oh,
still,
yeah.
let your antennas go up the next time that you say, you know what,
Right?
let
Well,
me
and
make.
it's so interesting because sometimes they're like, it's like when you're trying to sell somebody something and they negotiate so hard back to you for you to package it differently or do it in another way. And you kind of reluctantly agree, knowing it's probably not the best thing. And then it fails. And you're like, you also have to learn when to say no, right? And when to know that it's time to move on to the next opportunity.
Yeah, yeah, exactly right. And that's the
Mhm.
line. Big up Skeptic Jamaican. Thank you for being here, my dear. Okay, chapter 4, the inflection point.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this. I love this. I love the whole thing,
Mm.
man. Like I have to get another book because I'm
Yeah.
shamed to present this book to you for an author signature because you're gonna be like, Julia, what were you
Oh,
doing?
yeah. No, definitely. We
Yeah,
need to
okay.
get together.
And I want to tell everybody about your practical book that goes with
Yeah,
this.
the workbook.
So the workbook, so people can actually get that to actually
Yeah.
remember, guys. We don't need more information. We need more integration.
Yeah.
So the inflection point, you said, oh, there it is, the big gorgeous goals work official
Yeah.
workbook. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's again, gentlemen that are here, it's not just for women.
No,
It's not
I
just for women, but go ahead, Julie, say what you want to say.
it's not just for women. I've had lots of men give me great feedback on it.
Exactly, exactly. All right. So the inflection point, as soon as business starts feeling easy, an inflection point is coming.
Mhm.
These are like, and then the next quote says, these are like signals for you to lean into your resilience and
Yeah.
resourcefulness. The trouble is, if you're not careful, these points can sneak up on you.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So,
I
yeah.
when we had the
Mhm.
business, I really always felt like I didn't often know what I was doing. I was on a fairly constant learning curve of, you learn something, then the next thing, then the next thing, then you do it, and all of those things. And then you get to this place where you're like, okay, I think I know what I'm doing. And then it would be like, slam.
Exactly, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. And
Exactly
so
right.
I do think there's this, complacency kind of aspect to it. And, often when you hit like all of a sudden there's like an easy point, you can enjoy, not that you shouldn't enjoy it because you should, because that
Yeah.
means something else. The next climb is coming.
Yeah, yeah. It's like the calm before the storm type of
Yeah.
thing, right?
Yeah.
Right? Um, oh, so some people in the chat are
Yeah.
asking for the links to your book, Julie.
Yeah.
All right. So how can women learn to recognize the early signs, or how can people learn to recognize the early signs that an inflection point is approaching instead
Hmm.
of being blindsided by it? Like you, because you, Julie, are somebody who feels into the different things. So you now have a sixth sense for, you know, when things are happening. So what can you give us? Like, how can we learn to recognize that, or what are
I
you?
I do think some of it is like as you've been in a heavy learning phase, or it's been that grinding, you feel that grinding, like every step forward is hard. And suddenly you hit this like, you can be like, okay, not that I'm not going to enjoy this because it's been hard earned, but I'm also aware that there's probably another learning curve coming.
Right. So
You
you're
know?
embraced for impact,
Yeah.
basically. Right. Okay. Huh. You know what? That makes me think, and I actually wrote it in a book and highlighted it. That makes me think that we need to see that inflection point, change our mindset and not see it as a threat, but see it as an invitation type of thing.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Yes, there's a book, there's a link for the book and the
I
workbook.
put them in the
Success over
chat.
hype. She's gonna put it in the chat
I did
soon.
put them in the chat. I think.
No, you didn't put it in the chat, Julie. It's not there.
I
You have to
know.
type it in.
I did.
Okay, well, I'll type it in. But guys, you can go to Amazon, even though we're against Amazon, right? But it doesn't matter. We're not against Amazon.
Fine.
So just go to Amazon and type it in. Big gorgeous goals
Yeah. And the
by
workbook
Julie
is
Ellis, and the
also
workbook is there
there.
too, right?
Yeah, it's so funny. I've been typing things in the chat on YouTube because I can't join the chat here and
I
they
don't know
don't
why.
seem to be coming
Yeah,
through.
none of your
No,
typing is coming up. It's strange.
funny. And yet, okay. Sorry,
Okay.
friends.
He said I will share the thing. Okay, I'll share the
Yeah.
link, Miss T, after, because I
Yeah.
have to be careful with her
Here,
time because she's already
I'll put it in the chat to you here, Julia.
okay. Yeah. All right. So I love this. Planning will ease you through the core.
Oh yeah. And that's the piece, right? Where enjoy the lull while it lasts, but it is where having a plan, it really does help because it just lays out for you, okay, what's the next step? Is that the right next step? Do I need to revise the plan? It just makes it a little bit easier, especially if you have other people that are going through with you. It just helps it ease you through that curve.
Because it just, when I read this book, when I read it again for the third time, I saw it differently this time.
Yeah.
This time I saw the plan as like an outline, like this is the direction,
Yeah.
right? But like we shouldn't hold so tight to it to where um things happen. So we're
Yeah.
going to have to not we don't change direction, but methods might change, right? In order to get to that. But,
Yeah.
but the plan is the general direction that we're heading towards, right?
Yeah.
So why is pausing to examine our thoughts so
Mm.
critical during moments of transition to you?
Because I think it is you can just get moving too quickly and without thought, right? So not being afraid to take that beat, take a breath, lift up, like it's that same thing of you get too close to it all.
Yeah.
And so you need to have a moment where you can step back and look at the bigger picture.
Yeah.
It's really important because we put our head down and we start plowing through and we're not sure, and then suddenly we're like 5 steps past where we used to be, and we've invested in something that maybe wasn't right anymore, or it's all kind of just going wrong. And
Yeah.
it's because something changed and we didn't see it because we were like plan, 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 plan. So you have your plan, but you got to have those moments where you know, it's like that analogy of if you've ever climbed like a mountain or a really
Mhm.
big hill, right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
you look at the top and it's really, really far away. You put your head down and you walk, 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 climb for a while, and you look back at the top and it actually looks no closer than when you started.
Yeah.
But you start to be able to look back behind you, and then you can see your progress. When you
Yeah.
look behind you, you can see you've made progress. And so it's this thing of like, you can't just walk with your head down. You're going to bash into a tree at some point, right? You've got to like lift up, look at the big picture every now and again, then put your head down and do more work.
Hmm.
And I really feel like this kind of work is a lot like that. You got to put your head down, take a bunch of steps, look up, assess the big picture, put your head back down and take a bunch more steps.
Okay, so
Yeah.
since you said that, what are some of the questions that you have asked yourself when you feel a bit off? Like, but
Yeah.
you can't pinpoint why. Like, I want my listeners right now, okay, so the best questions that they can ask themselves when they feel off, but they can't really pinpoint why.
Mhm.
What are those? Tell us what works for you.
Lifting up, looking at where I'm stuck, looking at where the plan was, where I'm at, and then really thinking about who can I talk to?
Right.
Who can I like who are my sounding boards who I can bring around and be like, "Okay, I'm stuck." And is that like a mentor? Is it a coach? There's people who you could have in your life for free that could do things like that. There's people you could pay to help you work through things like that. Either, both, all can be useful.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, good. See, Miss
Yeah.
T actually dropped the link
Yeah.
right there. Thank you, Miss T. Thank you so much.
I know, because it just doesn't seem to like me.
That's okay. That's all right, Julie.
Even
I
though
mean, after
I am signed in and it won't let me comment for whatever reason. So I see my comments, but nobody else is.
no, nobody knows. She dropped the workbook too. Thank you, Miss T. Blessings. Thank you. And I'll definitely put it in the breakup and so forth.
Oh,
Um,
I went out of YouTube and came back in, and now I see a comment of mine. So,
okay. I see the thank you now. Yeah.
yeah.
All right. So the takeaways, you said focus on the
Yeah.
big picture every day. And
Yep.
problems often have more than one solution, and you've got to work to define the problem. I love that so much, because how are we going to know what the solution is unless we actually define what the problem is, right?
Yes.
I
So
love that so
often
much.
we wanna get working on the problem, we wanna move, but we haven't actually identified the whole problem yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
that is the thing. So we're not just outing fires all over the place. We have
Exactly.
to basically like know what the problem is that we need to focus
Yeah.
on and deal with that. I love that. I love that.
100%.
Let's see. Okay, you answered that one. Julie, it's been an hour. How much time do you have left? So I
I
can
have a
just
few more minutes.
few more. Who?
Yeah.
Few more minutes?
I
Oh
don't have
my
any
god,
more
I'm such a
questions.
fool.
All
Okay,
right,
hold on. Let
let's
me
go.
skip this. Let
Let's
me
do
skip
like a
that.
rapid fire.
All
Let's
right, let's
do
do a rapid fire.
Here we
Rapid
go.
fire. Okay, let's go to learn to be the leader of a culture that works for you. I love
Yeah.
this so much.
Yeah.
Leadership as tone setting. In chapter 5, you wrote, as the founder, you need to make sure your leadership sets the tone you want for your business. The
Mhm.
culture, after all, which is true, Julie, flows from the top down.
Mhm.
That struck me because many people underestimate how
Mm.
much of a company's energy comes from its leaders.
Yes.
When did you, Julie, first realize that leadership isn't just about managing tasks? It's about setting the emotional and cultural temperature of the entire organization.
Yeah, I think we realized that pretty early at Mabel's Labels. And
Yeah.
also like realizing that although none of us started that business to have 40 people report to us,
Hmm.
which is what we had when we sold it. So like that requires a leadership journey, right? So we, as the owners, managers, leaders of that business, had our own leadership journey to go on. We needed to grow as leaders.
Hmm.
The other place we needed to grow was in our sort of strategic and operational prowess of
Hmm.
running a bigger and bigger business. And,
Hmm.
sometimes you get caught in things like, nobody ever, I don't think any of us in school ever were taught this is how you do delegation. When you have employees, this is how you're going to delegate tasks, and this is how you're going to do it well. And
Right.
so we all have that where like you give somebody a job and you're like, no one can do it better than me. You end up feeling so disappointed with how that person completed the work.
Right.
And instead of actually looking at whether you did a good job of explaining the work, checking in on how the work was going, making sure it was what you needed, all of those things, instead of thinking about how you could change your process, you instead decide to sort of micromanage them.
Right. Right.
Right?
Right.
And that is never going to lead to the kind of culture that people want to work in,
Right.
right?
Exactly right.
And
Exactly right.
so it's about like these two pieces that have to come together in order, there's a leadership piece on your own part. And then there's this piece of, how do you build this kind of culture that people actually want to come and work in? Because especially when we have small businesses,
Hmm.
we don't have the luxury of paying the top salaries out there.
You're right.
And so there have to be other reasons that people want to come
Want to
and
stay.
work with us.
That's right. That's right. Okay.
Yeah,
Julie, afterwards, I will send you all my questions because maybe that will stimulate something for you
for sure.
afterwards, right? But
Yeah.
last question, and I know you have a couple minutes. You say you need to discover new ways to invest in yourself to
Mhm.
build your capacity to grow. What does capacity to grow mean to you? And how do we recognize when our capacity needs to expand?
Mm. Well, and like if you think of the pie of your time, you really can't grow. You have a finite amount of time. So that's not the kind of capacity we're talking about. We're talking about our own like internal capacity to lead. And so the growth we need to make as leaders helps us have more capacity. It helps us learn what jobs to let go of, what to hire other people to do, how to lead a great team, how to build the culture that we want, and how to really find that success and growth. Because it's like I said about something earlier in this hour, it's not a destination, it is a journey, and the journey of leadership never ends.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Last question. What are, okay, when you go into the finding your people, which I really, really, really love,
Mm.
guys, you need to get this book. Like, honestly, on the third time that I read it, it's like a completely different book. So you need to get this book. What are the signs that someone has found the right people, the people who elevate them rather than drain them? For me, I just go by my feelings, right? Because I'm really in tune to how I feel. But what are your signs that people can actually say, you know what, this is actually the right people for me?
I think especially when the team is small, feeling is the way to go. But then
Mm,
what happens is, sometimes you start like you feel that grinding feeling,
right,
and that's the place where you have to say, whose fault is this? Because it might be yours.
right, right,
And so that's where you have to have more like process and systems based management that comes into play, where they have goals. Are they achieving their goals? Are we having a miscommunication? Do I have feedback I need to give that for whatever reason I'm not? Like, am I giving realistic feedback? Am I telling people? Often I find the grinding feeling happens because 6 months ago something happened and you should have given feedback that it wasn't the way you needed it to be, and it's been building and building and building, and all of a sudden you'll be like, we can't work together anymore.
right. Not taking care of the small things.
Exactly.
Right, exactly. Well, Julie, this was a powerful conversation, and you've not only given us insights, but invitations.
Ah,
And people here, invitations to lead with clarity, to trust ourselves, to choose courage over comfort, to build systems that support our greatness, and to sprint when needed, but to run our marathon with
yes.
wisdom,
Yes.
to grow deep roots which can actually reach us higher and make us have higher branches. So above all, this whole book that I love, and I'm telling you to get even for yourself for this Christmas to start New Year's, right? She reminds us that your big gorgeous goal is not too much, your ambition is not unreasonable, your desire to expand is not selfish, and your dream is not asking for permission. You are.
Yeah.
So today we heard the best from of this book, right? With the time constraint, right? But this is a place that you can enter the moment that you stop shrinking and you start
Yeah.
stretching. Julie, thank you so much for giving us
Thank
that
you for
language for
having
that.
me.
Thank
Thank
you
you
very
so
much
much.
for everything, and thank you for spending the time with us. Bless you.
Always.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye. How do I get you to leave? Let's see. And I don't know how to get you. I think you just have to hang up, Julie.
Okay.
It's new for me.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah, Fire Nation. Yeah, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. I wish I had a lot of questions. And guys, when I first read the the first two times, I had to throw away those questions. Because when I read it again, I said, oh my goodness, there's so much more that's coming out of this book. So bless you. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you, Miss T, for your support. I really do appreciate you. And thank you for dropping the links. And thank you for being here, everybody. I hope you guys are enjoying your Sunday. It's a very short one. Um, there's so much. There's so much on this journey. And I wish us all the best. I wish us all the best. And this is how changes happen, right? That's how changes happen. Hi, Clip. Hi, Clip Cartel. And Clip Cartel is so talented. My goodness. Have you guys checked out his cartoon? Clip, drop your link. Drop your link so people can check out your cartoons. And guys, if you have a business link or you have a you're selling something or you have a link, please drop it in here because I will actually create a post just for you guys and to get people and highlight your link so that people can actually go and visit your shops and visit what it is that you're doing. Okay, one hand washes the other. Yeah. So Clip Cartel, Miss T, have you been seeing his creations? He have some good stuff, man. Really, really good stuff. Right? Really, really talented brother. So listen, I uplift all of you who, you know, that's one thing about Jamaican people. And not only Jamaican, yes, my Canadian and my US friends, we believe in you too. But you guys are definitely we definitely have a lot inside of us. We just need to bring it out. And the new year is gonna start, right? The new year is gonna start. Yeah, thanks, Miss T, for dropping Clip Cartel's link. Yeah, man, the brother have some and the thing about his creation is he has really good comedic timing. Comedic timing, you can't really fake that, right? So even the expressions in some of the cartoons that he makes, it actually brings the character out to life. So it's really, really good. And everybody else, you have any links? Definitely drop it. Definitely drop your links, and I will highlight you. And even if you don't have your links ready for this time, you have your links ready for next week. Bring your links ready, because what I'll do, I'll make shorts and I will blast them all over my TikTok, which I have most of the followers that watch this, right? And I'll blast it on YouTube, right? And I will keep blasting it, because one hand washes the other, and you guys support me and I support you guys back too. So blessings, everybody. And soon we're going to deal with narcissists. I've been studying for the past over a month and talking to my friend who actually is a psychologist, and she does help narcissists when they're clinically diagnosed to actually change. So she has so much. There's two of them. There's a man and a woman. I'm trying to get one of them on. We're just trying to figure out a timeline, but they've been sending me studies. They've been sending me recordings. They've been sending me so much. Check, Mood Man. Check. We're just finished now, Mood Man. We just had our guest, Julie Ellis, here, and she gave us some tip from her book, Big Gorgeous Goals. It's not just for women. It's not just for women. It's wonderful. So so blessings, everybody. I'm going to go and sit by my fire, and I made baked chicken and pigeon peas and rice. So I'm gonna go eat and relax. Hi, Tracy. Bless up yourself, sis, and blessings. Love you guys. We're gonna talk about narcissists soon, and you don't want to miss it, because I've been studying. Girl has been studying. Yeah. Thanks for subscribing to Clip Cartel Success. The brother is talented. Talented, right? Very, very talented. Very, very talented. So we love talent over here. And don't forget to check out, even though he's not here, DJ Easy. Listen, a lot of his mixes get me through the driving day and through the work day, as well as Rick Storm TV. Don't forget to check him out. He hasn't been doing live so far right now, but he's been doing his vlogs. And of course, check out Imhotep 360, or brother. He has lives, etc. I haven't been able to go on there, but soon I'll be able to go there. So check him out as well. Blessings, everybody, and we'll see you soon.
Let me make it very clear. One should never belittle anybody's anything.
I know that's right.
When someone gets an opportunity to do something, it's an opportunity, which makes it big for them, and you delight in that moment for them with them. Don't listen to the exterior narrative. The interior one is the one that counts the most. If you're the one that's talking yourself out of your greatness, you can't blame nobody but you. Like, reposition the thought to not be glass half empty but half full. I'm just in this space, no pun intended, where I just want to evolve, even in the moments that didn't work. I got everything I needed from that. Like, I learned everything I needed, so it wasn't a failure. It actually benefited me.